Hello, everybody. So, yeah, I think we can start. And first of all, Oscar, thank you so much for joining this event and your willingness to participate and providing us the information about the CQI special processes. Thank you very much. And to the participants also, thank you for joining this session. And again, I will monitor the chat, and after the presentation, we will have time for some discussions after the presentation, and then we can, together maybe go into your questions if you have any. So I would leave the room for Oscar, and thank you very much, Oscar, again. And I'm looking forward to hear about the special processes from you.
Thank you, and thanks for the invitation. Good morning in Mexico, good afternoon in Berlin, everybody, all the world. It's a true pleasure to be with you today to discuss the topic of great relevance, the fundamental standards that underpin the automotive industry. These standards not only enable the manufacture of quality products through precise parameter control, but through their proper implementation, make it possible to build a solid, reliable manufacturing system. Today, we will explore the sense of CCQIs and their crucial importance not only for the industry, but for the society as a whole. We will examine their foundation and their impact. My name is Oscar Rodriguez. I'm a regional director for TopQM and CGP in the Bajío, Mexico, part of North America. My work involves auditing companies CQIs across the different regions of the country. With that, let's begin. Let's take a look at the key topics of our webinar today. First, we will discuss the vehicle filers, but with a specific focus, we will link them directly to CQI's standards. We'll see not only how technical CQIs help prevent them, but also how other CQIs offer alternative methodologies to contain the problems that can originate at the very road special process. We will cover the fundamental concepts. What a special process is, where it comes from, and why it's so critical. Who requests its application and under which standard it is governed. And very practically, what each section of these standards truly assesses. Although their structure is standard, there are important differences between various CQIs we should know. For example, CQI 9 have the section thermocouples, but CQI 15 missing this section. Is important difference. To conclude, we will have a Q&A session moderated by Andre. Thank you, Andre. To streamline the session and avoid potential misunderstanding due to different we can begin. Okay, this webinar is designed to last between 30 and 40 minutes, more or less. So maybe run slightly longer depending on the floor and technical consideration. I will include the presentation, the topics, questions, initial questions, and we conclude with closing segment where I will do some practical recommendation for my part and mention the most important related to the standards. Okay, let's remember that many market issues originate from failures in controlling a special process. A clear example is the failure that we see on the screen involving an SUV where it was detected that a well bed was out of position on the front control arms, the component where the wheel is assembled. This defect forced the authorities to issue a statement as the market risk was severed. The vehicle lost its proper maneuverability. This case involves the welding and a special process covered by CQI 15 standard. This incident could have been prevented with rigorous parameter control regarding the well's position, penetration, and length. However, the fighter mode is just the beginning. The consequence can scale to point of risk human lives. It is the more important, human lives. In our hands is the human lives, not parts, human lives. It's crucial to remember that many documents in the automotive industry entail civil responsibility. For example, here in Mexico is civil responsibility formally established in PSSW and the PPAP, which the final assurance of the delivery products, the quality and safety. In this slide, we observed another failure mode, this time in the Volkswagen delivered vehicles. A quality issue was detected in the could cause the rupture and failure in the seat belt anchor, seriously compromising the passenger safety. This relates to thermal treatment processes referred in CQI 9. Here, the temperature control via thermocouples is crucial. This device must ensure uniformity with the furnace. Sorry.
Oscar, can I interrupt you for just 1 second? Maybe it's not only me, but maybe it helps if you could disable your camera. So maybe we can get a bit of a better bandwidth from your sound. Sometimes it's a little bit abrupting. So maybe it helps if you turn off the camera from you. So maybe it helps for a bit a better bandwidth for the internet connection.
Okay, I'm going to turn off my camera.
That would be maybe helpful. Sorry if I interrupted.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
Maybe this helps a bit for the internet bandwidth. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Returning the point, as a will previous example, this represented failure in a special process controlled by parameters which are established from APQP. Each special process has its own particulars, while in welding, we must control specific technical parameters. In heat treatment, we must understand the metallurgical characteristics, such as the iron-carbon diagram shown here in the slide. Therefore, deep understanding the manufacturing process and the requirements demanded by CQI standards for each case is fundamental. For both examples, it's important to remember that there is a direct relationship with CQI 14 warranty management. Not only the problem, is the following the problem. This standard comes into effect when a problem arises in the market, giving us how to address it and provides direction on applicable methodologies and standards for these situations. But where from the special process? We often think that industry, science, and art separate words. However, they are deeply connected, especially in the automotive sector. Many automotive processes there have their roots in fine arts, but it's applied science that determines the durability or reliability of the components, with the ultimate goal of ensuring the health and safety of users and consumers. As we can see in the central phrase of this slide, a special process is not just about quality, it's art and science. A few years ago, in my experience at the National Metrology Center in Mexico, a science shared a key idea. Science is the foundation of manufacturing. Understanding this allows us to grasp how standards are applied across the entire industry. Let's take a basic example, an assembling is joining of two parts. To achieving this, we can use energy, not use energy, or add tier material. This concept is fundamental. Often in the industry, we overcomplicate these basic principles and lose clarity in their application. Only we concentrate in occasion or efforts in produce parts, not its assurance parts. That's why we must remember the sense in the excellence manufacturing. We don't just seek the quality, we integrate art and science. Okay? It's important to clarify that a special process is defined by having specific controls and methods and is characteristic by three fundamental elements for its validation. One, it requires destructive testing. While no destructive testing exists, they do not guarantee 100% the parts meet all requirements. We will analyze the point in more detail later. Two, it demands planning, implementation, evaluation, and control. It's the PDCA cycle inherently involved. Three, its parameters must be controlled. In manufacturing plan, we can clarify this control exists through visible traits, even in basic aspects such as order and clean lines, which are evaluated by the CQI's checklist. Recall that. Under the process approach framework, we have constant flows, inputs, transformation, and outputs. Inputs can be three types. Remember that. Inputs can be three types: information, material, and energy. Outputs will also be information, material, or energy. The input and output will always be different as the process combines specific variables to transform one into the other. It's more important process approach. It's fundamental. Okay, but the origin of the special process is fascinating or amazing. They have their roots in the fine arts and common traits that we interact with daily. For example, coating is a process many of us have applied when painting a wall or one object at home. For the paint to adhere correctly, special conditions are required such as prepared furnace and suitable environment. What do you mean things fine arts and trades? Architecture, painting, sculpture, and the disciplines are directly related to key industrial process. For example, welding, casting, directly in relation with CQI 27, plastic molding correspond to CQI 23, forging to link it to heat treatments by CQI 9. In essence, we are constantly surrounded by results of this special process, whether in our car, on plane, or during a vacation. Products we use are the final outcome of a technical evolution that system from traditional art and craftsmanship. Why are special processes important? This is an excellent question. Special processes are fundamental for both industry and society, as fulfill three key roles. One, they generate trust and safety. Two, they optimize cost and efficiency. Three, they are based on enduring fundamental principles. For example, as we saw in previous slides, their fundamental principles do not change over time. They adapt and new technologies to ensure products consistently fulfill their primary function. Understanding the primary function is crucial. I'm going to use an example. In my training sessions, we asking about the main function of a car door. Many answer to protect from outside or aesthetics. However, its primary function allowed entry or exit from the car. Often in the industry, we complicate these basic concepts. To include, let's remember that the special processes are not inclusive to automotive industry. They are applicable to all types of industry. It's simple that the automotive industry has historically been reference point or pioneer for the rest of the market. Okay, to summarize, the special processes are those identified as critical automotive sector. In other industries, this process transforms the essential raw materials, such as plastics, paints, and metals, into the vital components. Some key examples are heat treatment, coatings, welding, molding, and casting. These processes are ubiquitous. Their estimated represent approximately the 80% of the manufacturing sector and can be found in a wide variety of everyday consumer items, from vehicles applied like a coffee makers, furniture, and elements in our homes. The paradox that is that although we are surrounded by the results upon entering the industry sphere, this process can be perceived as something complex and foreign. In reality, what the industry does is systematize and regularly control principles that essence are already part of daily experience. But who is particularly concerned with special process? Normative basis. To understand requires them. Let's start from the regulatory framework in the automotive sector. Having IATF certification or alignment, it's not universal requirement for our link the supply chain. In this primary response to condition, is a general requirement or a customer-specific requirements. It's important to consider other scenario. Low tire observed tire reference, for example, CQI 19, who, while being certified under ISO 9001 2015 and applying product the sector may be subject the minimum automotive quality management system requirements. What does IATF require regarding audits? The IATF standard establishes a comprehensive audit structure which includes 1. Risk-based internal audit. 2. Quality management system audit must be assess all the organization processes using criteria based on standard. 3. Manufacturing process audit, which can be addressed using the standards like CQI and specific technical CQIs for each processes. These audit cycles are governed by IATF and ISO 1911. Standard for process audits, the customer-specific approach must be used. This is not prohibit the organization must be defined on approach. It's a mandatory requirement shall that must be met, and the organization its own approach is, for example, depending the special process. In a summary, in effective application, the normative requirement depends on the deep understanding of AITF and ISO 1911. In other reference, that guide used to ensure the first firm's work compliance with the own management system. CQIs are often included as customer-specific requirements. This concept refers a supplementary request that goes beyond what is required by international standards. In other words, in addition complying with the general sector regulation, we must meet requirements that apply exclusive to particular client. These customer-specific requirements are established in the contract, and it is our responsibility to be aware of them. The information is usually available in the portals of the OEMs affiliated with the IATF. Typically, these specific requirements are numerated and aligned with the clauses of the IATF standard. In essential, to review each customer, which customer-specific requirement applied as well to the deadline and format, which must be furthermore, this commitment must be extended or suppliers, especially when they perform a special process. As direct suppliers to OEM, we must ensure that our own suppliers meet the same requirements we have commitment to. Only then we can certain externally supplied products meet the specification and reduce the risk the market failures. Let's check this example. Now, let's analyze some specific examples for customer-specific requirements. There may be many more so essential for each organization to directly their clients' requirements, especially those not published on the IATF website. Let's say the manufacturer as example. For example, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, specific in a great detail applicable standards, audit frequencies, and the events triggered them. General Motors particularly details requiring personnel competence, mandatory records, and even specific operating system where they must oblige. Stellantis establishing very similar requirements. It's crucial to remember that each organization, OEM, determines its own guidelines and the scopes of evaluation under its customer-specific requirements framework. We can conclude based on clause 9.2.2.3 of the IATF standard that General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis have a specific requirements must be complied in with mandatory recommended action. For the most accurate and up-to-date information, check directly on the official EITF website in the customer-specific requirements section. If one of the los participants can search this link, please send me an email. Okay. What's IAG? It's finding recognize the fundamental role of IAG and of those of us allies, the sector like TopQM, as a global organization founded in 1982, has a core purpose, continuous improvement, problem solving in the automotive supply chains. AIAG, its strategic objectives are cost reduction and improvement of the quality product, promotion the safety, environment, social responsibility, optimization lead times. AIG primary contribution in developed standards. Here is crucial to understand the difference in the certification is, for example, a norm is a certification and a standard is optional to, for example, the guideline become a mandatory when the customer includes them, their customer specific requirements. For example, EITF standards for the subjects standards in the Annex D, General Motors in customer-specific requirements requires they use the APQP AIG guideline in advanced quality product. What are the standards focuses on special process? Okay, the primary focus of the special process based on preventive and systematic control. Better understanding it, let's start with the concept of CQI, which means continuous quality improvement. The number compared for each CQI identifies the specific standard. These standards have clearly defined approach are recognized both IATF and the original equipment manufacturers. Let's recall why a process is classified as special in theory to have absolutely certainly that excludes correctly destructive testing be necessary. However, this is not feasible, destroy all the production. Therefore, the philosophy of CQI focuses on rigorous control of the process parameters. We can think of this fundamental equation that you can see in the slide. Y is equal to Fx, where Y is the output variable of the results, X represents the input variable or process parameters, temperature, pressure, time. The goal is control the X to warrant the desired Y. Some variables are controllable, while others, such environmental variation, must be monitored and mitigated. For example, letter B in the equation is this case. The evaluation of the special process given by CQAs analyzes its planning, implementation, evaluation, and control. The PDCA cycle establishes from APQP. Success depends two pillars: a correct design and planning of the process from the start, and two, proper maintenance of its conditions over time. In conclusion, in this slide, quality in special process is determined and ensured through the scientific control of these key parameters, which are typical associated with a control application of energy, thermal, electrical, and chemical. The CQI are classified in two main types, as shown in the table. Technical, for special processes, this is standard that directly evaluate the specific manufacturing system. Some examples: CQI 9, CQI 11, CQI 12, CQI 15, and the other classification that you can see in the table is CQI 8, Layer Process Audit, CQI 14, Warranty Management, CQI 19, Supplier Evaluation and Monitoring, and CQI 20, Effective Problem Solving. It's crucial remember that all CQI are interrelated. They are not independent. Rather, they are interdependent and complementary. Compliance with often depends or strengthens the application of other. Remember, interdependent and complementary. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Oscar.
Okay. Okay, 17. Okay. Let me a moment. Okay. The goals of the CQA
Oscar, sorry,
Okay.
Oscar, for interruption. Only for the audience and for you, for information, you talk a couple of pages before the link to the IATF 6949 customer-specific requirements is in the chat for all.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
In a moment, I'm going to share the link.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. The goals of the CQA evaluation are develop the common standards for a special process is to standardize the criteria, also two main objectives. First one, focus in prevention defects, the meaning act proactively before the event occur, no after. Two, focus on reducing variation. So data analysis to measure and control processes with the and I continuous improvement. First one aligns with the preventive risk management, while the second prioritizes the measurement, control, and continuous improvement. This evaluation must be naturally integrated into our quality management system, the production system, and the specific customer specific requirements. This enables unified approach across related the sectors and the interior supply chain more effectively, ensuring that practice standard and working methods are applied correctly based on customer specific requirements, international standard, and reference established by market standards. What general specs do these standards evaluate? Okay, the first block in general, into the CQIs, there are different, but I put on the presentation the common structure, okay? The first block in the evaluation of the organization system, this section involves reviewing system conformity, personal competence, process facilities and clean lines, energy resources, parameters, and maintenance programs. Essentially, we focus on evaluating the overall condition of the quality system, verifying the resources and facility are adequate, and most important, that what is established in the system is being correctly executed in practice. Specific methodologies and the checklists are used for this evaluation, such as the 5S methodology, which helps systematically assess the ordered or clean lines. The section of the documentation evaluation, this block assesses the documented information that the organization must be maintained. It encompasses all documents generated from APQP that comply with international standards such as IATF, the internal management system requirements. What is specifically reviewed? The existence, adequacy, and application of the following are verified: system documents, processes, procedures, work instruction, competence requirements, definitions of the skills for operational and planning personnel. In this case, I recommended review ISO 10015. 3. Strategy tools. Documentation related to management improvement and external standards and legal requirements includes SIA, ACTM, and ELSME, and regulatory frameworks. For example, labor laws, environmental regulations, etc. The objective is ensure the control as well defined and that there are records demonstrating their effective implementation. In the next block is the evaluation of manufacturing process records. If the objective is ensure product integrity through its entire flow, meeting both internal and customer requirements. Its scope is broad to include the evaluation of material handling and organization of the materials and warehouse, product traceability, product safety and contamination control, clean lines of production lines, control of non-conforming product, as is identification, segregation, and disposal, process capability. This evaluation allows us to analyze how we control the flow of the parts, not only conforming ones, but also how we manage the non-conforming ones as a key principle that international standards do not prohibit the generation of the non-conforming product. What they require the robust system to control it, prevent it from having the production line to reach customer. This reinforces the importance of the process approach. Well designed, understood, the process should be able to detect its own failures automatically contain non-conforming products. It's very important the scope this section. The they evaluate the monitoring and control of production through the verification of parameters. These standards also include the evaluation process tables. The tables cover the monitoring the process controls in accordance with international standard or recognized reference. Their purpose is validate the process parameters and specification and measurement, inspection, and testing methods. All these elements must be clearly available at the point of use, and their absence must be properly justified. This ensures that implement the practice aligned with the international reference and that there is effective the control specification. The evaluation considers defined parameters, frequencies, and internationally standardized methods applying four criteria: measurement equipment, statistical control charts, temperature controls through test such system accuracy tests, or temperature uniformity survey, CQI-9, for example. They evaluate repair or scrap procedures and reports. This interesting, this section. This standard includes a specific section to evaluate the establish the procedures to management non-conforming products, as well the report generate. The objective of this verify that procedures comply at minimum with requirements of the international automotive sector standard. Always maintain a continuous improvement focus. It's crucial distinguishing two key concepts that, although some things used interchangeably in industry jargon, have distinct definition standards. Repair, take action on a non-conforming product so that it fulfills intended usage requirements, even though resulting the product may not meet the original specification. This also required approval. Reward is action take not conforming products shall meet the original specific requirements. When parts cannot be recovered, the true repair or reward. The procedures must be ensured they are contained, identified, and destroyed in controlling the manner to prevent their misuse. The scope of this evaluation includes the review, reaction plan, and corrective action implemented in response to significant defects, negative trends, or recurring problems. In this case, you can use CQI 20 for that analysis. And finally, CQI include the job audit or floor audit. This job audit is crucial step to verify real-world implementations involving contrasting with the production floor, everything documented in the system. Following the principle, say what you do and do what you say. The objective to confirm the activity controls competence defined on paper are correctly executed in the practice. What is verified during the audit, the job audit? The system documentation is compared with the operational system. Is the reality including active work order and line documentation, the competence of the operational persons, tools, instrumentation, and measuring devices, valid calibration and certificates, real-time control of process parameters, execution of maintenance plan, and other elements to process execution that established in the quality management system. In other words, check findings in the system in the operational process of manufacturing. Recommended methodology, the audit should be performed by following a specific part number critical product. Ideally, a product goes through established process should be traces providing comprehensive evaluation of the manufacturing flow. Okay. To conclude, let's return to the central question. What is true impact of a special process in automotive industry? The impact is fundamental and it manifests on several levels. 1. Value trust. They increase perceived value and build customer trust, eliminating, reducing the waste, and optimize the use of our resources, human, material, and financial. 2. Safety and certainty. They provide certainty of safety and reliable products not only our direct customer, but for our end users. 3. Legacy and responsibility. They allow us to work with the conviction that what we do today has lasting positive impact. We contribute not only to the advance of the industry, but to well-being of the society, moving towards more responsibility and better world. My final recommendations. Okay. 1. Identify your process. Determine which process within your organization are subject to CQI requirements. For example, heat treatments, coating, welding. 2. Evaluate your suppliers. Identify your suppliers perform special process. If so, requiring then conduct the corresponding CQI evaluation as a specific contractual requirement. 3. Verify the auditor's competence. Ensure that personnel in your organization are and your suppliers responsible for conducting the audit meet requirements to be qualified auditor. Okay? 4. Define the strategy. 2 points important. External auditor. If you lack internal competence, here a certificate third party to conduct the audits. Recommended. For me, it's recommended for impartiality. You can call me. B. Internal auditor. If you wish a trained internal auditor, they must be following the next criteria. Trainer as an internal auditor, knowledge and experience in the specific manufacturing process or special process, and C. Experience applying in evaluating the core tools. Five, management of suppliers without internal competency. If you suppliers lack qualified personnel requiring the corrective action plan, as an alternative, recommended an external auditing firm that meet the competency criteria established in the point 4. 6. Execution the audit. Conduct the audits strictly adhering the organization internal requirements and the customer specific requirements and the requirements of the standard. 7. Management the findings. Following an effective audit and findings are likely to be identifying, ensure the documented and management and formally closed within your quality management system. 8. Trends and continuous improvement. This point is very important. CQI 35 already requires external evaluator. This could become a future requirement for other CQIs, representing a strategic opportunity to increase the process reliability. 9. Remember that CQI's evaluations have a preventive nature. The goal is ensure the process robustness and prevent the failures, not just correct them. 10. Training recommendation. For each CQI is recommended live training, person in live section, to ensure the interacting and understanding by the concept. And 11. Institutionalize this evaluation as a recurrent practice. Their implementation should become a natural within the organization culture, going beyond mere compliance with the customer requirements. The ultimate goal for this company to adopt them out of conviction, recognizing them powerful to improve the overall performance, productivity, and sustainability, maintain the customer focus approach. Okay, any questions? Let's.
Thank you, Oscar, very much for, first of all, the introduction on where the CQIs or that general special processes topic was coming from, and then about your insight into the what it actually means, why we are doing CQI. Maybe many of us are very deep in customer requirements. They require to do CQI 9, they require to do other CQIs, but to learning where this all is coming from and why. Thank you for your presentation on this.
Thank you.
So we can, if anybody of you has a comment, a question, or anything else, please, you can put it in the chat as well, or if you would like, you can speak and raise your point, your comment or question. And yeah, maybe to begin, or something from my side, I mean, we are always talking about the CQI audits and assessments, which for many of us probably is one of the most interesting topics of the assessment itself of the CQI. And do you think, Oscar, is it better to conduct the evaluation internally, externally, or do you think it depends on a case? What do you think is a good rule? In your opinion, the internal versus external audit assessment situation?
Okay, excellent question. The choice between an internal or external evaluation depends on the objective or maturity of the organization and this specific context. Both options are valid, but they are served at different purposes. Let's detail. For example, internal CQI evaluation. The organization with maturity in the quality, competence, resources, as well establishing problem culture. I have some points. Benefits, lower long-term costs, builds internal knowledge and process ownership, greater flexibility and frequency, natural integration with quality system management, and more agile corrective focus. But for me, there are risks or disadvantages. First one, risk of bias of lack objective. 2, requires significant initial investment in training and certification of the internal auditors, because the main problem is in the organization, by my experience, is that people in the organization don't have the competence and experience. It's difficult. The organization have the auditor internal mass technique more technical competence, competence and experience. And 3, blind spots may be overlooked to the familiarity with the process. Other is other risk, possible a lack credibility with demanding the customers, may question of the objective. And the final, the internal auditor must be maintain the competence and free of conflict interest. But an external, for me, is more advantageous, is the best. Why? Maximum objective and independence. The evaluator has no relation to the operational results. Impartiality. 2, credibility and recognition before customers. Demonstrates seriousness and transparency. 3, brings experience from other industries and the best practice. Provides a fresh perspective and benchmarking. Next, source regulatory compliance is the ideal for requirements that demand an external evaluator, for example, CQI 35. And the final point identifies spots that internal staff may be normalized. For me, is the best third part or external. However, maybe the hybrid model, for example, 1 year organization, 2nd year external, for not for mixing. For me, is important or hybrid or external. For me, depend the organization maturity.
So,
taking the trends and final reflection of this question, CQI 35 sets a trend, the mandatory using external evaluator. This standard could be extended the other CQIs in the future. Being prepared strategy for me.
See, Oscar, thank you for this information that that it's good to highlight again that the CQI 35 was setting the standard for requiring external evaluation, right?
Okay, yeah.
And Oscar, Andre, I have also put it the assessor qualification, the original extract from the standard into the chat. And here you can see what Oscar mentioned and what he trained us a couple of in the pages is exactly that what he mean.
Yes. And I see I think Rolando has a question to ask. He raised his hand a time ago. Sorry about that. Yes, please.
No worries. Thank you so much, guys. And hello, everyone. My question, I think, is something related about the topic that you are talking, but I just want to clarify. Is it really needed or is mandatory to be certified in any CQE that should be applicable for my company? For example, I have a welding process here, but I think we do not have any certification about CQI 15, for example. It's not a safety component, but I'm not sure if I should be look for a certification or not.
Okay. The CQIs, it's not a certificable standard for tier part now. Okay, it's audit requires the by focus of the customer. Okay, but you need understand that not for requirement you need apply this standard. You need apply this standard for you are convinced the control of your process. For example, in the new rules of the IATF, the scope of the IATF will be all the supply chains. In this case, this standard will be mandatory for all the supply chains of the automotive industry. In this case, Rolando, you need make this assessment in your company based in the requirement of the norms, customer-specific requirements. Not as relevant that you have a critical component. If you don't have a critical component, no problem, but you are obligated to make this assessment if your customer-specific requirements gives. No sé si tú hablas español, Rolando.
Sí, sí.
Ok, te voy a contestar en español más claro.
De acuerdo.
No importa si tú no tienes componentes críticos, ¿sí? Lo que quiere CQI es que tú evalúes el proceso. Te da una recomendación sobre componentes críticos que por ahí empieces. Si no los tienes, tú la tienes que hacer sobre los componentes que abarquen todo el proceso de manufactura. Pueden ser 1, 2 o 3. Se hace una sola auditoría de sistema y se hace una job audit por cada componente que tú quieras proponer. Y esto se tiene que hacer en base anual, cubriendo todos tus procesos de manufactura en 3 años calendario. Quiere decir que todos tus procesos críticos, bueno, todos tus procesos especiales deberían estar cubiertos en los 3 años. ¿Sí? ¿Sí contesté tu pregunta?
Sí, ¿y puede ser únicamente algo interno o tengo que buscar como alguna certificación?
Ok, no, mira, las CQIs no son certificables como tal, ¿sí?
Oscar,
Entonces, de
sorry.
CQIs no son certificables como tal. Si quieres ya de una forma más puntual, te puedo contestar esas preguntas para darte todo el fundamento. ¿De acuerdo?
Sin problema.
Ok.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I think the topic that was discussed, and sometimes I get the questions many times with that companies trying to be quote unquote certified on CQIs. And this is what you just said, Oscar, what I heard, that CQIs in general are customer specific required assessment methods, assessment of special processes, production lines. So there's nothing. You can have certain qualification in terms of your as an auditor, as an assessor qualification, but the other thing is it's like VDA 6.3. So there is no certificate of VDA 6.3. It's an audit method required from within the automotive industry by your customer specific requirements.
Yes.
And what Oscar said at the beginning is totally correct. It's not for certification. It's a guideline. All CQI special processes are guidelines, and it's not a norm or a standard where you can certificate it. It's enough if you have the cover sheet full out with your results internal and send as evidence for conducting the CQI audit to the customer. That's all.
And I think it's a good point to mention, please only send a cover sheet. Don't send your internal most critical documents, which are your process parameters and things like that. So if a customer, anyone in your supply chain is sharing evidences of conducted CQI audits, it's always only the cover sheet. Maybe that's
correctly.
A question related to the assessment from the CQI. What if there is at the end no findings, no improvements found? Is that normal that after each assessment, let's say we can find in some CQI provided from supplier, there is nothing found?
Okay, could you repeat the question or right? I lost the connection some moment.
So
I think
the purpose, Andre, would you explain, or I should repeat?
I just wanted to say that the question was the supplier sending you a filled out sheet with no findings on it. They didn't have any findings, right?
Usually, let's say 99% of suppliers.
Everything is well from the supplier. You have good supplier base. Yeah.
Good question.
That's normal, right? That's very normal, or?
It's not normal.
Is that reliable? Looks like assessment done behind it, because normally they make it by themselves. I mean, it's no external auditor involved.
Yeah.
I guess the picture would be different if it's a hybrid audit or external auditor.
I have a recommendation, and since 15 years experience about that, this is a really, really good question and a deep discussion. We could discuss the next 2 hours about that. But my experience is, if you receive from your supplier a cover sheet with 0, 0, 0 findings for the audit questions, it is the first one. Never ever you could trust them. If they send you the first with a couple of findings, second, 1 year later, fewer findings, and maybe in the third or fourth of the year, in 4 or 5 years, if they send 0, 0, then you should trust them, but not before. But this is only my experience. If you have the first or second year 0, 0, 0 findings on the cover sheet, I think it depends on the criticality of the product. If it's our affected safety measurement parts, then I recommend you to go to the supplier and make on your own CQI audit again to make sure the critical characteristics are secure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the CQI itself, it's something very, very nice, and has I think a big added value for each supplier, which have some special process. But I'm not sure they really evaluate the power of this tool for themselves, because otherwise they would really use it and they will really find something each time which they can improve. There is no perfect system. That's, let's say, unbelievable that they stay on the same place and they believe they are good enough and nothing more to be handled better. And
I agree.
this mindset, I think it's somewhere this mindset is not well understood. If they do something just because customer specific requirements are required, it's not enough. And this means that the mindset is still missing. It's done just because someone wants it, but not because they really understand the purpose of it, the deep purpose of it for themselves also.
I agree.
And there was one question from Mangesh, actually, by the way. The question was for a special process, is it mandatory to control the process within control limits of process tolerances? Or is it enough to control within specified limits?
See, it's control the process, and it's inevitable to control the limits. Youth-centered, well, I explained in the slide, the mathematical formula. If you control the parameters, you don't have the concern with the quality of the product. Simple.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. And I think there was one more question about the qualifications for holding trainings on CQI. So maybe internal trainings on CQI and CQI in general. Are there same requirements from the CQI who can internally, for example, do trainings on CQI? So more towards if there are any requirements defined being a trainer for CQI was his question.
Yeah. 3 trainings basics, internal auditor experience, and application of core tools. No training only, application of core tools. Not the same, you training core tools. It's training and application in the process of core tools. That's a three.
Oscar, I would like to add your comment.
Yeah.
Automotive core tools, of course, and the auditor training, yes, plus at minimum of 5 years experience in the applicable CQI standard or process.
Yes, it's correct.
Okay, last recommendation from me for this question. You can go, everybody can go to TopQM-Systems. We train you.
Right.
I have a question, another. Is it fine to send only a PDF to customer, to the OEM?
You mean of the PDF of the cover sheet?
Yes, yes. Not Excel, just PDF.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because we had a case where Ford asked us to send Excel because in their new system, it looks like it's open system, which dig into the file and open and find something and auto-filling their portal information. But that's some service which I think we should not do. But when the customer says, I'm really, how to say, a bit in an internal fight, shall we satisfy him? Or we could still say, this PDF should be enough for you. How are we supposed to react if there is no, how to say, a prescription nowhere? What should be transferred to the customer, in which format, PDF, Excel, cover sheet only, and so on? I guess it's nowhere written, right?
So no, I mean, they are interested in the results, and they usually receive a PDF, just in general. But now in your case, with that the customer is requiring a specific data format, and in this case, it's an Excel sheet, I think it's more of a internal alignment and discussion on if you at least have if you have any chance to discuss this topic, but like we know, probably not so much. If they request a certain standard, I think the PDF is the best, but the Excel sheet, if it's a format of reading only, because I think there is no more information than in the PDF. It's just an editable version of the PDF. I think usually, like Mangesh is mentioning, that a signed PDF as an official cover sheet and done report is requested. I mean, if they are requesting the form of a editable PDF, I mean, you can try to negotiate and stick to your point, but I don't know if that will be of success.
Okay, another question. So we know, like it was also mentioned, different customer specific requirements require different CQIs. Let's say for insist on CQI 9, and I think one two more. Stellantis for some other. GM require some CQIs only from tier 1 suppliers, specific one, and which does not go further down to the supply chain. But what will you recommend me if some customer asks me for CQI, which he is not supposed to require according to his customer specific requirements? What I'm supposed to react? Should I challenge his competence on his own knowledge for his customer requirements?
This is not really deep in detail described in the standard about your question.
Also, in some cases, like Stellantis, if you read the customer specific requirements, you say that the specific requirements should be, let's say, cascaded, but all this should be agreed in the IQR, if I remember well. This means it should be agreed in inquiry stage. It means if this haven't been quoted and so on, this could be even excluded in some cases. So this means that some CQIs could be even not applicable if they haven't been agreed in inquiry stage to be transferred.
I think Oscar, he had mentioned in his presentation, you have to try out which special processes are in your supply chain applicable. And if you sign a customer agreement where they require or it's mandatory to do that, then you have to roll out in your supply chain and expect the cover sheets.
Yes, and the new rules specify the scope of the IATF. The IATF is applicable according to the new rules of the all supply chain management of automotive. That requirements that special process assessment will be mandatory to all the supply chain management of the automotive industry. It's a vision. We need to vision to the new changes. Remember the risk management system in your company according to IATF.
But so far, we need to obey just to the customer-specific requirement in relation to applicability of certain CQIs in the supply chain, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
And it haven't been agreed and signed in our quality agreements in between them that we are going to apply. Then we can, as understood, simply say it's not agreed. And full point.
Yeah. Then
Okay.
it's not necessary.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andre, we have another question here. Procured
yes.
from Anastasios.
Yes. So I think there are two topics. Also asking about, I'm not sure if we have answered that already, if someone requires certification or the cover sheets from the suppliers. So if your customer says, you send me a cover sheet of your internal CQI, okay, but please send me the cover sheets of your supplier base that I know you did do the requirement of requiring the CQI within the supply chain. But the point was raised that they usually are sending their own cover sheet and then a letter confirming that they require CQIs to be done in their supplier base also. If that is enough, or if a customer, if your OEM or Tier 1, for example, can require you to provide all of the cover sheets from your supplier base.
Oscar, you?
What do you think, Andreas?
There is no question. If you sign the agreement with your customer to drill down in the supply chain all applicable CQI special processes, then you have to do that and you have to show the customer, maybe in the PPAP documentation, the CQI cover sheets are complete.
Yes, maybe in the dot 17 customer specific requirements. In some cases, point 70 of PPAP, the customers gives the CQA evaluation not only the supplier, in other case of the supplier too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they want to see in the PPAP documentation the cover sheet from the sub-supplier CQI assessment conduction.
Yeah,
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And one question more. Can a qualified CQI 9 auditor...
Andreas, darf ich noch was fragen? Vielleicht mal auf Deutsch, weil die beim PPAP, ja, stimmt, ist es so bei dem Punkt, aber wenn ich jetzt jährlich auf Anforderungen, ich habe mehrere Suppliers, also CQI 11, 12, CQI 9, wir überwachen die, wir haben eine Liste und wir haben ein Einschreiben erstellt, wo wir das auch bestätigen den Kunden, weil wenn ich alle schwärzen würde, das kostet auf der Zeit, das zahlt auch kein Kunde. Und so sind wir gut durchgekommen, weil das sind auch Datenschutzgründe, das sind Telefonnummern, Durchfallen, alles Mögliche von den Auditoren, die da draufstehen auf dem Deckblatt. Und ich kann nicht jedem eine Zustimmung verlangen, außer ich hätte jetzt bei jedem Kontrakt mit jedem Lieferanten, wo ich sage, du gibst mir frei deine Daten, wird auch keiner geben, ne? So auf die Schnelle, weil der Verweis auf seine AGBs wie auf unsere AGBs, da geht dieses Spiel wieder los. Wir sind da ganz gut durchgekommen. Es ist auch, glaube ich, nicht verpflichtend, ne?
Anastasius, good question. Let me translate a little bit in English.
Sorry, because my English is not so good. So we have, I've spoken this in German with Andrea.
Yeah. Now I clearly understand your question. I could repeat your question to the audience, for all. The question is, if you send the cover sheet complete to your customers, there are defined the oddities, the names, the email, maybe the phone number, and the position. And the result is clear. And the auditor names, the auditor, co-auditor, the audit team, and so on. The question is, we have to protect these data before we send to the customer or not? Usually, if you have one cover sheet, I think, Anastasius, this is no question. This makes not an effort. But if you have 20, 25, every year 25 cover sheets from your supply chain, and then you have to make it black, all the data, and then this costs a lot of effort, a lot of time. It is really necessary or not? And furthermore, maybe you could ask all for the permission to send it to your customers to approve it. Then this makes also a lot of effort. But this is a good question, Anastasius. What is your experience in the audience?
My experience?
Yeah, in this forum, in this audience. Other experience about that. And your experience.
We have a letter that we write that dass wir die Lieferanten anfordern, das bekommen, das auch überprüfen, überwachen und auch bei uns abspeichern und kann gerne bei uns eingesehen werden. Aber aus Datenschutzgründen schicken wir es nicht raus. Und damit sind wir auch bei OEMs Tier 1 alle gut durchgekommen bis jetzt.
Good solution. Very good, Anastasius. I would
Maybe
like
you
to
can
repeat
translate it better in English.
Yeah, I would like to repeat it in English. As the one of the solution from Anastasius, I like it. It's really simple. You create maybe an Excel file, and you list all the suppliers with the special processes on it. Which kind of special processes? On the right side, you can mention the date or the year and make it green. And then you confirm in a final bottom, in a final letter, all these suppliers have confirmed and approved the cover sheet of the special processes. And this page you send to your customer. And this is a good practical example, Anastasius. I think this works.
Thank you for this as well. I think we are coming again very good on time for closing this session. Are there any last minute points? Because if not, I would just say, Oscar, thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and also the audience. It was a very international audience today. We had Spanish, we had German and English. That was very nice. Very nice.
Mangesh from India.
Yes, exactly.
Hello, Mangesh.
There was one last question, I believe. We just got a last question, which is, can a qualified CQI 9 auditor also be appointed or be a heat treatment representative, if this is enough? If you have an auditor qualification, CQI 9, can you be appointed or appointed as heat treat representative?
Because yes, that was my solution for the next year, because we have a transformation and a new organization, and we have a new people. And I think it was my idea to say I will qualify more persons from the production, from the heat process, as quality CQI 9 auditors. When they have this qualification, they can make cross audits to the another departments and from another department in the department A. And with the 5 years experience and with the qualification and with the know-how what they have, we can have automatically the heat treatment representative that is a requirement in the CQI. I think that was in the first question or second question requirement.
Yes, of course, this makes sense. Give me a second if you have everybody quick to add time. I would like to share exactly the requirement for that. Just a second.
Ich glaube, das ist bei HTSA die erste oder zweite Frage, Anforderung für einen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The first question.
Was ist
It is
yeah.
the first question. Or the second, yes.
First question or the second, yes. By HTSA. I don't know.
Just a second. I share my screen. Here you can see the original requirement from CQI 11.
Yeah, exactly. The first.
And here you see the first question, 1.1, management responsibility and quality planning. There shall be a dedicated and qualified surface finish person on site. And this you could create or nominate a plating system representative, maybe with a nomination, with a job description, put it in the organization chart, and yeah, this is exactly this answer.
Yes.
I saw a lot of in my experience worldwide, a lot of different letters were nominated as a heat treat system representative. Yes, of course. Who fulfilled this requirement?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
All
And
right.
thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you, Anastasios. Yeah, thank you, everybody. And
very important to say, and the organization for this automotive days from TopQM.
Thank you, Anastasios. I hope
very positive experience in 3 sessions. I was in 3 sessions and very positive experience. Maybe we have this in the next year.
Yeah,
that is the plan. Exactly.
This is the plan, and
thank you.
I think we have a couple of lessons learned about that.
Exactly.
Yes, and remember, if you need to evaluate your suppliers, call us.
Exactly. Oscar, thank you also so much again. And thank you all. We will have a closing session at, I believe, 15 minutes, 4:45 shortly. Have someone from AIAG also connecting in to say thank you and share a short insight on the membership from AIAG. So thank you so much. And
Andre, one last point more. You are all invited to participate now in our closing meeting with AIAG together.
Yes, we have a closing session with AIAG together at 4:45. So thank you, everyone, again. And I hope you have a good rest of the day. And if anybody has to leave before the closing, thank you for participating. I hope you could gain some valuable insights. We'll make sure that everybody is able to receive the presentations afterwards. So thank you again and have a great day. Oscar, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you in 15 minutes.
Thank you.